All right, so good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse, and I am with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. If you're joining us for the first time, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world through over 50 monthly live free interactive broadcasts. So if you check out our website, if you check out our YouTube channel, you'll see all that we've got upcoming. You'll see all 2,000 past broadcasts that we have. Hopefully you'll learn a lot and have a lot of fun too. Now today marks day 5, the end of our Week of Wonder. All week long, we've been partnering with the Canadian Association of Science Centres for Science Literacy Week. So this is Canada's biggest science festival. We've got programs coast to coast to coast, virtually, in person, all sorts of great stuff going on. And to celebrate that, we wanted to highlight the amazing work that science centers and science center-like organizations do to bring the world and cosmos into your classroom, into your homes. There's been such incredible work done over the last year and a half to make sure that the really virtual programs have become cutting edge and really, really exciting. So we wanted to feature that, showcasing all sorts of cool stories. And we want to thank you so much for joining us in these first few weeks you've had back in the classroom. Now, all week long has been a ton of fun. We've had lots of live animal interactions. We've had crazy weather. We've had space. Today's program is completely different than all those things. In fact, it's completely different than anything we have ever done as an organization, which is why I am so excited about it, more than usual, which is really hard for me. So we're going to turn it over to Brenda in just a minute, and she is joining us from STEAMLabs. STEAMLabs came onto the scene a while back, and honestly, every time I hear about something that they're doing, it is so innovative, it is so cool, it's so different from what anyone else is doing, so I'm so excited we get to introduce you to it today. So today's topic, Indigenous cooking with a dash of artificial intelligence. We're going to learn about artificial intelligence. We're going to learn about neural networks. We're going to build a pie. We're going to see some live cooking on camera. It's nothing we've ever done. And so I can't wait to dive in. I'm going to stop talking. No one wants to hear me talk anymore. I'm going to turn over to Brenda. Thank you so much for joining us today and take us away with this awesome and unique presentation.
Hello, everyone. Yes, we like to start off by first acknowledging. Let me share my screen real quick. Let me know if you can see it. Nice. Okay, cool. So first, we like to acknowledge that STEAMLabs is on traditional territories of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people. We also like to thank our friends at Amazon Future Engineers, KCJ, and Actua, so you can always check out those links to see what other programs they have going on right now. We also are proud members of the Canadian Association of Science Centers. So to start off, let's do a Kahoot.
All right. So a few of our folks on YouTube might have done one of these with us before. If you're joining in on YouTube, you can open up another tab. If you're a live class, if you've got your own device, is great. But Kahoot.it, and you can use the game pin 2492913. Brenda, if you want to bring that up again, you had it almost there. There we go. Perfect. So we're waiting for players. Come on in. 0 so far. We want to beat Ripley's. Ripley's had 250 players. I'm not sure we're going to do that, but a lot of people really like sharks. It's pretty hard. And I know it's early in the morning for you guys, but if you guys want to bring it up, Freddie, Devin, way to go. We got some people coming in. So far, 3. Now, you don't win any prizes if you win this Kahoot, but you do win our everlasting respect, which is actually better. And with me, it's only given out every 30 minutes or so. So there we go. All sorts of great people coming in. Welcome in, guys. And what we're going to do is get underway in about 30 seconds or so. We want to dive in, test your understanding, get that everlasting respect, and then keep going with this awesome program. So cool. Holy, Kahoots are the best, aren't they, Brenda? I love it. All right. If you want to get started, we'll dive in, and other people can join as we continue along. So go for it.
Perfect. Nice. Let's get started with a super mega fun, awesome AI quiz.
Yes.
Okay. So first question is, which of the following is considered modern day AI? We got Ultron, we have Wall-E, and we have a Tesla. Let's watch those answers come in.
Dun, 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 dun. That's a very sinister Ultron look.
Yeah.
A huge Marvel fan, you chose his most malevolent moment, I think. Now, all right, one more second. 128 of you. Holy.
Wow. Okay. Perfect. Nice. So a lot of you guys in Tesla, and that one is correct. So Tesla uses their vision recognition system for their autopilot system to detect objects in front of them. Good job. Let's do the next question.
All right, who's got the lead? Oh, no scoreboard. It is true.
Oh, yeah. We don't have a scoreboard. Is it inevitable that AI will replace us?
See, the fun with Kahoot is that you get to choose whatever picture you want, and Brenda went full darkness with this, which is very exciting. It's the wry grin that the robot has as he's looking at the human skull that makes it.
Yeah, I hope this influenced your okay, this is great. We are mixed reviews. Is it inevitable that AI will replace us? Okay, so scary thought that it will, but it's not inevitable. If we develop AI, knowing that AI is meant to be our assistant and not a replacement, we can start applying ethical policies in the development of AI technology. So next question is, do you use AI on a daily basis?
Nice. Well, quick note, by the way, if you are in a class and you don't have Kahoot up right now, just play with your class. Teachers, you guys can ask your students. Let's see what your answers are. You can type it in the chat if you'd like to. Again, not everyone has access to Kahoot, but this is really, really cool, and it's so nice to see so many of you. Now we're at like 140. You guys might beat Sharks. If you beat Sharks, I'll be immensely impressed. All right. Yes is our biggest answer.
This is great. Okay, perfect. A lot of people said that they do, and the thing is that you do. Social media, your Alexa, all these things uses AI and helps you throughout your day. So the next question is, do you understand how AI works?
Right. Ooh. What do we think? I'm really curious what you typically get for this question. I think a lot of people, I don't know. I'm not going to give anything away. I know my Alexa doesn't like me. That's what I know. Our last question.
I'll be honest. I had no idea before working at how AI works, but
most people think they do.
Okay, that's amazing. I did not expect this. Okay, so that's great. It's great that you know how it works, and also with this workshop, you'll get a better understanding of how it works also. So the final question is, do you feel like you have control of the AI in your life?
Who feels like Tony Stark? Let's see. 10 more seconds, guys. I love these answers. You guys have been so awesome this morning. This is great. Way to go. I like how this younger generation feels like they know AI and hopefully can control it too. We don't feel that way.
Okay, nice. Okay, again, a little bit mixed reviews. Do you feel like you have control? A lot of us may feel intimidated the fact that we can control it, but the thing is, once we understand how it works and how it exists in our lives, it's when we can start applying how AI is in our lives by changing the settings of our phones and managing how data is being collected. So thank you for everyone for participating in the Kahoot.
Nice.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just start diving into what exactly AI is. So AI, by definition, is also known as machine learning, and it is the act of machines and computers thinking and learning how humans would. So AI can do a variety of tasks, from self-driving cars to your YouTube recommendations. Now, although AI isn't what we see in science fiction movies, being robots that can do everything a human can do, AI does play a huge role in our lives and can make some really big decisions for us, like the ads we see, or even potentially scanning our university applications before an actual human sees it. So because AI continues to develop and continues to advance, it is important that we understand how it works so that we can be part of the conversation when it comes to the development of AI ethic rules and policies. So to break down this complex system of AI, we built a very simple AI to help you understand it a little bit more. The AI that we built is to help chefs generate new recipes for their restaurants. Then I'll hand it off to Mo to talk about neural networks.
Hey everyone, I'm Mo from STEAMLabs, and I'm here to talk to you about neural networks. First, let's talk about how a neural network works and how it learns. But before we dive into the robotics section of it, let's talk about how I learned first. Now, when I was young, I wanted to get my pudgy little fingers all over my mom's hot cup of coffee. Every morning, I would see it and think, man, I really want to touch that. But guess what? Every time I got close, she would pull it away. And sadly, my mission wouldn't be successful. But every day, I tried and tried and tried. I crawled under the table, tried to touch it. Didn't work. I tried jumping over the couch. That also didn't work. But one day, I realized that if I hid under her chair, waiting and lying in ambush, the moment she sat, I could go and put my finger on the mug. I think you guys can guess what happened when I touched it. Ow! It hurt. And after that, I didn't want to touch the mug again. So what happened there? I had this desire of touching the mug, and I learned the rules of living room warfare to learn how to get to it. And when I touched it, the result was that it hurt, and I would never touch it again. Now, I may not be a robot. Oh, my battery fell out. Sorry, you guys weren't supposed to see it. Let me just plug it back in. Okay, I may not be a robot, but AIs learn very similarly to how I learned. AIs take an input, in our case, ingredients for our pies. They learn rules and come out with an output, which is categories of pies. Now, our AI can categorize pies as sweet, quiche, pizza, savory, or other. Other are the pies that you may not like to eat. Now, how did we teach our AI these recipes? We fed it 2,500 recipes. Now, is this every single recipe that ever existed? Not really. These are a large section of recipes that we know work. And the magic of AI is that since we fed it these 2,500 recipes, it learned the rules. It took ingredients and it knows these ingredients make a sweet pie, these ingredients make a pizza pie, and so on. After it learned the rules of the 2,500 recipes, now, no matter what combination of ingredients you put in it, it can give you a pie. I know, I just said a lot, and seeing is believing. So let's dive into our neural network. I'm going to share my screen, and you're going to see some magic. Here, this is our neural network. Yeah, it kind of looks like a spider web, right? Kind of like a human brain. Now, what this is, on the left side, you can see all of our ingredients. We have a lot. And on the right side, you can see the different categories of pies. Let's try something out. I'm in the mood for a cherry pie. Well, cherry pie will have cherries, sugar, and crust. Look at this. Our AI said with 100% confidence that cherries, sugar, and crust is a sweet pie. You may have noticed these middle dots lighting up, some of them. These are called nodes. The AI uses these nodes to make decisions based on the ingredients we put and come out with a category of pie. We don't know exactly what these decisions that the AI is making is, but we know the rules it follows. One important thing to note is that even though we don't know exactly what the AI is thinking, we still have to take responsibility for what the AI does because we are the ones who created it. Taking responsibility for the AI you make is one of the most important things in the field of artificial intelligence. Now, if you look on the top right, there's a random recipe finder. Well, now that I'm done with the cherry pie, I'm in the mood for some pizza. Let me put some pizza. Hey, it found a random recipe. Okay. Before I talk about this, I'm going to create a classroom. This classroom is called Apricot. I will shortly share this link with everybody so you guys can all participate in this as well. But first, let's talk about this pizza. There's a crust, pineapple, tomato, cheese, and ham. Oh, this is a Hawaiian pizza. You know what? I hate Hawaiian pizza. Pineapples are sweet. Sweet things should not belong on my pizza. So you see how the AI classified this as pizza. But on the bottom right, it says, do you agree with the classification? I'm going to click no. And I'm going to label it other. you can use other to classify recipes that you personally wouldn't eat. And I'm going to click submit. If I go to the classroom stats page, I can see that I have my reclassified pizza here. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for 1 second, and I'm going to send everybody the PredictaPie neural network. So in the chat, I have sent the PredictaPie neural network for Apricot Classroom, and I would like everybody to click on it and play with the neural network. If you think that there are, recipes you don't agree with, put them in, and we'll all view the classroom stats page together and see what everybody thinks.
Okay, super cool, Mo. I also want footage of you leaping over the couch for that coffee mug at the end of the broadcast. But I put this in YouTube as well, so a whole bunch of our classes are joining there. PredictaPie, let's put that in a banner as well. We're going to put it everywhere for everyone to check out, so you guys can see this. If you're on YouTube, there's your thing to check out if you guys want to take part in our workshop together. And live, all our classes that are live in StreamYard, you have this in the chat on the side of StreamYard now, so if you want to play around with it, pop on in another tab. Even if you're not seeing us for a minute, we'd rather you guys take part and play and see. I've never had Hawaiian pizza personally. While you guys are doing this, I've always wanted to try Hawaiian pizza. Think pretty arbitrary, Mo, but I mean, I guess that's the whole point of it, to say if it's not something you'd eat, then it's not something you want to highlight.
Exactly. And the importance of an artificial intelligence is catering to everybody. So we'd like to see, how people's personal preferences play into this. And I'm going to pull up the classroom stats page so we can all see it change in real time.
Nice. While you're doing that, I just really want to highlight that all of YouTube thinks you're a robot. In fact, my favorite line ever in one of our broadcasts is, he's a robot acting like he makes mistakes. So I don't know. You might have oversold it with the battery. If you want to go back to the human level.
My programming doesn't allow for answering to that question.
But yeah, bring back up your screen share. We'd love to see what people are taking part in. This is great.
So let's take a look at the classroom stats page. Wow, 43 predictions and keep on going. So let's take a look at this. So here's our total predictions. Here is the number of correct classifications. And what that means is how many people agreed with the AI. And here's incorrect classifications, the amount of people that disagreed with the AI. And with this accuracy meter, we can see how many people agree and disagree. Okay, so yeah, so a lot of people are classifying, Hawaiian pizza as sweet. Some people are classifying as other. I know Brenda loves Hawaiian pizza, so she's still probably classifying it as pizza. And look at this. There's crust, onion, blue cheese, egg. Some people are classifying that as other. Maybe because blue cheese isn't for everybody. Sometimes it smells like socks. Sometimes it smells great. Hey, look at this. There's a recipe with hot peppers. Someone classified it as sweet. And someone classified it as others. So, we going through this list, we can see that somebody went wild and put every ingredient in their pie. But also we can see that, hey, the disagreement with Hawaiian pizza came because of personal preference. Now, my question to everybody here is that, are there other reasons that people may disagree on? And is there reasons that you may not want to eat certain ingredients? I would love to hear from all the classes to find out what reasons you think that some people may not want to eat certain ingredients.
Yeah, fantastic, guys. Well, let's head to Miss Galley's class. They're joining us right at the camera. What do we think about certain ingredients, guys?
What are some good ingredients? Braxton? For pizza?
Pepperoni.
Pepperoni's a good ingredient. Okay, I like that. What about something you wouldn't like?
Something you wouldn't like on your pizza. Eli? Slices of tomato.
Okay, not veggie lovers. Well, way to go, guys. On YouTube, one of the things that people are saying in terms of not good for pizza are things that you're allergic to. So that can depend on individuals, of course, but I think it's a great answer. How about Miss Cumm's class and Astoria? If you guys want to unmute your mic, What do we think? What should go on a pizza? What shouldn't go on a pizza? What do we love on pizza?
All right, guys, what do you think? What should go on a pizza? No.
Yes, I got it.
Cheese. Okay, what else do we want?
I guess pepperoni.
Pepperoni. Steven, what do you want? Eggs.
Eggs. I like it. We started off very traditional, and we threw it in.
Those are all amazing answers, right? So yeah, there are reasons that, you know, the first class said tomatoes. Maybe you don't like tomatoes, right? There's a lot of seafood in our ingredients. Some people are allergic to seafood. If you noticed, in our ingredient list, we also have a soy alternative because of religious restrictions or moral restrictions, people may not want to eat meat. There are so many reasons why you wouldn't want to eat certain ingredients. Allergies, religion, and personal preference, like me hating Hawaiian pizza and Brenda loving it, right? One thing we learned while designing this AI is that our ingredient list does not cater to every single person, because if the AI feeds somebody a recipe that they're allergic to, that's really unfair and that's wrong. The AI shouldn't be making those wrong decisions. So, with that being said, after speaking with Chef David Wolfman, we realized that our model could be better and is not appropriate for all cultures. So now I would like to bring in Chef David Wolfman for more insight. And I'm going to go recharge my batteries. I mean, take a nap.
Well, thank you very much. You know, the old model did not serve me because it didn't include my cultural values, my culinary practices, and either regional or seasonal ingredients. You know, we should cook by respecting living in unison with the environment and recognizing resources as gifts from the Creator. You know, these practices are engraved in Indigenous stories, prayers, and instincts in a cyclical way of living that's been passed down for generations. And these ideas can be reflected in the AI model by emphasizing to cook on a number of things. First of all, to cook based on season. You know, we need to recognize environmental indicators to inform us what to eat and when to eat. For example, this yellow-orange buttercup comes out when it's time for us to fish. So when we see that pop up, we say, wow, the spring salmon is there because it's the same color. And so we know that it's warm enough for the salmon to come upstream. And so that's an ecological indicator. It's something that we look at, not our iPhones that tell us it's time to go and fish. We also have to be reminded that we're living harmoniously with the environment. And we should also cook based on what's available and not over-consuming. Don't take everything. You know, food isn't just there for the taking. It's the responsibility to provide for ourselves, to give back to the plants, to give back even to the animals and other community members. You know, when we take salmon from the river, we take the innards out of the salmon and we share those innards and maybe the head and put them in an area and share them with the bears. Because if we realize that we're not the only ones that want the salmon. So again, living in harmony with the environment. You know, wild rice is an aquatic seed and it grows out of the marsh. And so when we go and pick it, what we do is we grab the plant and hit it into our canoe, which is the seeds fall in. We take some of it, not all of it. We take some and we hit it back into the river, into the marsh where it allows it to grow. And we also leave some on the plant to share with the other birds that would be eating it. So we don't just take everything, again, respecting it and respecting the environment. We also need to cook based on region and acknowledge where our food comes from and respecting and gathering and the picking process, harvesting process that connects us to the environment. For example, even today, a lot of our food that we eat is handpicked by hardworking people in the hot sun. So we not only need to respect our food, but we need to respect the workers, the farmers, and even the drivers, the people that deliver it, and everybody who's responsible to get our food to our table. Now, what I do as an Indigenous chef, I cook what's called Indigenous fusion cuisine. And that's where I take traditional foods and create them with a modern twist. For example, I'll use international products with it, or maybe international cooking methods with it to make my dish. Now, when we also look at some of the food products, we have non-Indigenous foods that we can incorporate from around the world. But we can still use non-regional ingredients, and they can be stored through traditional methods. And when we look at how Indigenous people ate, we didn't have refrigerators. What we did is we found ways to preserve our food. So one of the ways we did it is we preserve food by using smoke. So for example, smoked salmon. Now this salmon has been cut up, the innards removed, again given to the bears, and dried and then smoked. So it would last anywhere up to 3 to 4 years. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried blueberries or any type of berries, but we traditionally dried all types of berries, again, using the environment, using the sun and the wind. So the other topics that the AI doesn't know that will require human intervention is things like tasting food, smelling food, knowing combinations of spices and herbs, and the different flavors and flavor combinations that come from a chef that's practicing and cooking all the time. You know, when we eat, we don't just eat with our mouth at the taste. We smell it. We also look visually, the colors of it. And also when we are eating it is the different textures that we understand as chefs. And the AI also would not know exact preparation methods or techniques, such as, you know, when I make a beef stock or a venison stock, I'll cook bones in a roasting pan to get them nice and brown. I need to take them out. And what happens is there's a lot of fat on there. And so we need to do a term that we call in the culinary industry is degreasing. So taking that grease out and then deglazing so you get all of those little brown bits. And that's one thing that the AI program won't know. Or maybe even straining out the vegetables when we make a stew, taking them out and letting the meat cook and then putting them back in. And again, don't forget, we want to make food look good. So we eat with our eyes. Now, my neural network has certain options that we've added, one of them being seasons and the other one being regions. So, and it says, it gives me a direction of what I should be cooking. Now, it's helped me to create a recipe. And I've started the recipe already. And what it told me to do was to take deer meat, which is basically venison. Now, I'm using a tougher cut of meat, so I need to stew it. So you want to think of it's a tougher cut of meat, it's deer meat. And it's also told me to add in what's called hominy corn. Now, hominy corn is a white corn that is predominantly used by the Haudenosaunee people. And it's just like the yellow corn that you would see. Now, that corn has a hard outer husk on it. And if you ever eat corn in a cob, you know that you can just, if it's in season, you can just boil it and eat it quite easily. Well, this outer husk takes time for it to come off. So if we cooked it on the stove, it would take a long time and it would be mushy inside. So what the Haudenosaunee people learned was a method of removing that outer husk. So they would take water and put hardwood ash in it. Now, I don't know if you've ever been camping and you have water boiling in the stove and you see little ashes go into it and you see a little layer of oil that comes off of it. It's that product that comes from that hardwood ash that helps to soften the outer husk of the corn. And this is one of the traditions that the Haudenosaunee people have passed, and all of our culture has been passed down from generation to generation. So I have this stew cooking right now. It needs to finish up. So I think I'm going to go and finish it. And hey, Brenda and Mo, I think I'm going to finish this up. And we're going to see what it tastes like when we're all finished. So I want to say thanks for listening and wait till you see what's coming up.
Oh, fantastic, David. Everyone's really hungry in the YouTube chat. So I've been putting links to your website there. What an amazing conversation. That was fantastic. Brenda and Mo, I'll bring you guys back in. Mo's robot devices are still activating. Oh, there he is, back in video. But I'll bring you guys in and we'll check in on that food in just a minute. How exciting.
Yes, thank you so much, Chef, for all your insight. We're so excited to see the final results. So I'm going to share my screen real quick to show everyone exactly what Chef David's neural network looked like. Let me know if you can see it. Perfect. So if you go to the homepage and you go to test a pre-trained model. You can also see Chef David's pre-trained model. And you can see over here that first we have, it's no longer pies, but it's now soup, stews, and salad. Because when we spoke to Chef David Wolfman, we realized that pies aren't a traditional dish in all cultures. So first we do is we select what region we're in, and I am in the Great Lakes, and it's also fall. Once you click Update Model, then all of the ingredients are then updated based on what's available in those two, in the season and in the region. And you can see that Chef David has played around to finally find the stew. Cool. And so now let's move on. So while Chef David Wolfman is cooking, let's move on into a neural network that we use almost every day, and some of you are even on it right now, and that is the YouTube's neural network. So I have a quick question for everyone. We'll have two questions. First one is, why do you think YouTube recommends us videos opposed to Google that just has a white screen and a search bar? Why do you think it gives us videos and recommends us to watch them?
Yeah, how about we go to Ms. LeBlanc's class? You guys have your mic unmuted, so come on in. What do we think? Why is YouTube recommending videos to us? You've been on YouTube today?
You think we'll like it.
Oh, could you repeat that, Ms. LeBlanc?
Say that again.
Because they'll think we'll like the videos on what we have watched before.
Beautiful. Perfect answer. All right.
That's exactly what the answer we're looking for. So it knows what videos we've watched before, and then it recommends these videos because we know that we're going to like it. So the more videos we watch, the more we stay engaged on YouTube, and hence the more ads we see. So it bases the videos we watch based on the videos we've seen before, common topics, how long the video is, etc. So I'm going to share my own personal YouTube recommendation. So you can see here that this is what YouTube recommends to me. These are all the videos that I like. You can see what I'm interested in. So could you write down in the chat, what are some common themes within all of these YouTube videos?
All right. What do we think on YouTube? Our YouTube friends, if you guys want to dive into the chat, I think for me, I don't know, we've got a lot of animal stuff.
Exactly.
We got someone walking a fake saber-toothed cat. At least I hope it's a fake saber-toothed cat. It's really terrifying if that's if they come back. We were talking about CRISPR the other day, so maybe animals, cooking, hacks, bikes. Guru's got it on YouTube, so I think we got a pretty good sense of this. And then, yeah, animals, nature, bicycles. All our folks, you guys are awesome.
No, those are all so good. And that's exactly what I was thinking too. So let's try to build this neural network. I'm sharing my screen again. And here is the neural network that we have. So you can see that you can also build out your own neural network afterwards. But on the left side, I have all the YouTube videos. And on the right side, I also have those videos. And then in the middle layer, we have those categories that everyone just spoke about. So technically, if I watch the Nat Geo monkey, it should suggest all the other videos that are also connected to animals. So if I watch that, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? It doesn't work because you can see here that by watching one video, it only turns the animals 30% on. However, if I watch all three of these videos, and then it works. But we don't have to watch all three of the videos to get these videos recommended to us. What we do is that we change it and make it 100%. So that makes Nat Geo Monkey turn animals on 100%. And so we'll do the same with all of these. Quickly turning the dial. And so now everything should work. We also have to do it on this side. Remember, the left side is the input and the right side is the output. So that works perfectly. So if I watch indoor gardening, let me turn this on. It recommends all of these other plant videos to me. So it works perfectly. But remember what we spoke about before and how YouTube, its goal is to get high engagement. So if we add a high engagement node on the left as well as the right, then YouTube always turns this on when it's recommending new videos to you. However, those high engagement videos aren't always the best videos for us. Things like conspiracy theories, like Saber-toothed tiger is alive, will help people watch more videos. Even though I don't believe this conspiracy theory, a lot of people would click on it out of curiosity, out of outrage, because it aligns with my own interest. Other things like the dark side of buying plants, it's like some clickbaity stuff that will induce fear and anxiety. I would watch that. And also like an $8,000 bike mistake, things that are like, I would just be so scared and I would watch them. Other boring videos like the Nat Geo monkey, YouTube would not recommend to us because we wouldn't watch them for a long time. So let's go back to the Nat Geo monkey. Once I watch it, it's all good. I get recommended fresh evolution. However, once YouTube turns on the high engagement, then the only video that gets recommended to me are the bad conspiracy video ones. Same thing with if I watch a bike tune-up, I get really good recommendations. But once the high engagement gets turned on, then some clickbaity, fearful videos get suggested to me. So these are the things that we have to keep in mind when we're interacting with the YouTube's algorithm or any other AI in our lives. And we have to figure out what the end goal is and if that is beneficial to us. You can learn more on how to build this neural network in our workshops if you sign up also. And I think it's time for us to see what Chef David Wolfman has finished cooking up.
Hey, welcome back. Yeah, we just finished plating up our deer meat and hominy corn stew. And I have to say, just off camera, I just had a taste. It tastes pretty good and it worked out. So here it is here. I'm just going to garnish it. Again, remember, we want to make sure that it looks nice. So we eat with our eyes. So I'm just putting on a little bit of parsley here. We have our deer meat. You can see we have our mini potatoes, which was also in here. We also had some celery and onions and some beef stock. And of course, we had to put garlic, a little bit of tomato paste in there. And we put that all together and let it braise. Now, this took a little bit of time. It takes about 45 minutes initially to stew, and then another 15 or 20 minutes once we add in that hominy corn. And you can see how it looks so beautiful. And I think it's just ready to eat here. Now, one of the things you want to remember is that not only do we eat with our eyes, but we also eat with our taste. So the textures are really nice in here, and it turned out to be a really nice product. I hope you try some cooking at home if you're allowed to. Maybe you cook with your parents and just enjoy it. But I remember when I first started to cook, I was 9 years old, and I went in my kitchen and helped with my mom cook up a stew. And that was the first recipe I made with her. Now, she did all the work. I just helped the stew. And I really gave her a hand in helping eating because I loved it. And it created, to me, a hunger for not only just the good food, but all of the great stories that my mom passed down to me. So thank you. And let's take another look at this stew again.
It looks so. It's the first program I've hosted 1,000 of these. I've never been salivating in a program before. This looks amazing. YouTube thinks it looks amazing too. Everyone thinks this looks amazing. We all want to just leave our classes right now and come join you. So thank you so much for sharing this with us today, David. This has been fantastic. All right. Guys, we are nearing the Q&A part of the broadcast. So I'm going to bring in Brenda, David, Mo in a minute again. If you guys have questions for any of the three of them, we'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. We are going to go a little long, and that's because we're rebels together today, and this has been so much fun. We've learned so much together. I do want to stress again, just in case I don't get to highlight this the way I want to at the end, STEAMLabs.ca if you want to find out more about their amazing programs, other virtual workshops you can take part in, and if you want to learn about just delicious food and local ingredients and all sorts of great stuff, cookingwiththewolfman.com, the greatest website title of all time. So way to go, Chef David. Let's bring in our classes. So Miss LeBlanc's class, they're joining us today. They're grade 6s, and they are in Canada, Ontario. Come on in if you have a question for any of our friends today, and kick us off.
I know what we don't have any questions today. We're just enjoying and mouth-watering.
Perfect. That's the way we like to hear. By the way, before we go to questions, I'm sorry, Brenda, did you have anything to add to wrap up our broadcast today? I didn't want to steal your thunder at the end.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. So for all the teachers and educators there who want to integrate this AI system into your classrooms, we welcome you to join our teacher training sessions. Our partners at KCG are also providing some programs as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. You mentioned those partners at the beginning, and just it's the best time ever. If you're interested in this sort of work, the opportunities you guys have in your classrooms today are so much greater than anything we had when we were in school. We had to walk uphill both ways in the snow every single day, even in summer. So I'm just so lucky for you guys. All right, Miss Galley's class, and then we'll come to Miss Arai's class. Come on in, Miss Galley. Take us away.
How many types of food are in the world?
I think Chef David can answer this. How many types of food are in the whole world? No pressure.
Hang on. I need more fingers and toes. There are millions and millions of types of food. Just think about it. There's just so many different types of vegetables that we have just here in Ontario. So I want to say the safe answer is millions. How's that?
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. Thanks for joining us. I'm Miss Galley. They're joining us in New Brunswick today, which is really exciting. Always nice to have East Coasters waving high in the background. Let's go to Raman's class. Unmute your mic in Toronto. Come on back. There you go. I know you got a student ready for a question. And your mic works. Yay. That's awesome.
Come on over.
You can ask your questions. We got 2 questions for the chef.
All right, my question is, how did you get the deer meat? Did you hunt it or did you buy it?
Yeah, and the second question?
How did you become a chef?
Nice.
Excellent questions. Now, traditionally, our people hunted it, and what we did is when we did hunt it, we actually made sure we used all of the animal. So we used the skin to make shoes and clothes. We used the bones for tools, to make broth first, and then to make tools and had the meat. Now, I bought this through a butcher shop that farm raises it. So this is what we call farmed raised deer. So it's done quite nicely. What I used is a stewing meat, and it's available in most butcher shops. You just have to ask them ahead of time, and they can bring it in. Now, some places in rural areas, it has to be frozen so they can keep it for a period of time. And I became a chef because I just absolutely love food. I was 16 years old. I went to a culinary apprenticeship program at George Brown College, where I actually teach there today. I love it. And one of the things about becoming a chef is that it gave me an opportunity not just to learn some of the culture that was passed down to me, but to share it as well, and to learn recipes and to cook. And I'm always surrounded by food, and I love food.
No kidding. Fantastic, Chef David. Again, the moment we brought you in, I knew the questions were going to all overwhelm you. It's great on YouTube as well. I love it. Guys, I'm going to take a quick question from YouTube on AI, and then we're going to go to Miss Moulinshot and Miss Kump's class in a minute. So our question from Miss Carter's class is, how long does it take to program an AI? Brenda, if you want to field this one.
I think I'll pass it on to Mo. I think he knows the best for this one.
Come on in. Whoever wants to answer.
So how long does it take to program AI? Well, nowadays it's fairly quick, right? So really depending on what you want your AI to do. Our AI for Predict a Pie, after figuring out all the nuances to it, it could take up to a week, 3 days even. There's some vision recognition AIs that learn from pictures. And honestly, if you have the right data set, and our data set was our recipes, right? So if you have the right data set for vision recognition AI, like the Tesla, it will be pictures. You can train it, within a day. Nowadays, it's getting really streamlined and very accessible. AI may seem intimidating at first, but really once you dive in, you'll see the realm of possibilities it can open to you. And I encourage, everyone to look into it and try it and explore.
Yeah, we had people getting a chance to do that today in your program. Again, such great interactivity. So I hope you guys take that chance and sign up for more STEAMLabs stuff. There's Stream and Steam and all the STEM, and there's too many ST program names in the world now. Throwing me off, people. But fantastic. What a great answer, Mo. All right, Ms. Moulinshot's class. We have time for 3 more questions. We're going to go to all our live classes. Ms. Moulinshot, come on in, and Ms. Kump and Ms. LeBlanc to wrap up.
Can I have 2 students say their questions?
Yes, you can.
Okay, go ahead, Austin.
I don't understand yet what's the point of an AI. Why can't humans just write down recipes and do it themselves?
Nice. And then what's your second question? Let's do them both at the same time.
How many dishes have you made?
Okay, so how many dishes have you made for Chef David? And then we'll talk about AI with regards to cooking to wrap up after that. Great questions.
Well, how many dishes have I made? I've made thousands of dishes. When you think of a meal, like for example, if I was serving this stew, I might cook a rice, which is another dish. I might cook a vegetable, which is another dish. I might make a dressing, and I might make a dessert. So right there, I'm doing probably 6 or 7 recipes just for one meal. And when we're serving larger quantities of people, we do a bigger quantity recipe. So I've served all kinds of dishes.
Yeah, awesome. All right, and then our second question for Brenda, a question I was hoping we were going to get in this broadcast. Why use AI at all? Why not just rely on the expertise of people like Chef David to keep us in food and happy and hungry and all good stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. So remember when Mo said earlier how we train this model based on 2,500 recipes? That would take a human being a very, very long time to program just by themselves to manually do everything. So instead, we had the AI figure out ourselves. The thing is, I think the stem of your question is, we have all these dangers when it comes to AI programming. What we have to be aware of as programmers and engineers is what the data we give it to them. So we have to make sure that the data we give it and train it with is inclusive and it involves all cultures and perspectives. Oh, and also one thing, we also want to mention that KCJ, if you can link the link to them. Yeah, all of the programs are free for ourselves and KCG for qualifying classes. And I think Andy also mentioned it in the chat of the YouTube.
Yeah, perfect. So I'll bring up KCJ's website if you guys want to check them out. They're an amazing organization. They've grown so unbelievably in the last 2 years. It's incredible. So very, very cool. Chef David, I know you were playing with knives a minute ago. Before this broadcast ends, we're going to have you do that live on camera because it's too much fun. Here, I'll bring you in right now. There we go. Playing with knives. David's first time in Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants history. Thank you. All right, let's go to Miss Cump's class and we'll wrap up with Miss LeBlanc's. I know we've got more questions than we could possibly take in one broadcast, and I love it. But let's head to New York. Come on in.
Can AIs play games?
Ooh, okay. What do we think? Can AIs play games? Brenda?
AIs can play games. If you heard, there's a AI that can play chess. A lot of AIs, yeah, they can definitely play games. If they learn how to play games similar to how you do, then they definitely have play games. And some of them could even be a human being, for sure.
Very cool. We're in a really exciting time in AI in the world. And again, we talked about the idea of it being malevolent or good. This is the thing. This is a tool that we help use. If you have metal, you can make a car, which is great and a helpful tool, or you can make a sword or a gun, which is something that could be a little more negative in a lot of circumstances. And it's the same thing with AI. Like what we do, how we program things, what we put into it, and the more, I guess, cultural understanding, the more kindness that we put into it, the more empathy that we put into it, the better things that will come out of it. So I think that's a really excellent question we had earlier, and it ties into everything that we're featuring today. All right, Kids Code Jeunesse, by the way, kidscodejeunesse.org. It's also on YouTube for all our friends there. But what I want to do now is wrap up with one more question and then get your guys' enthusiasm ready for a big farewell in a minute. Miss LeBlanc's class, come on in, guys, to wrap us up.
So I was gonna ask, what meat is most commonly hunted where you lived?
Yeah, Chef David, what's the most commonly hunted meat where you live?
Well, it depends on the region that you're in. So my family is from British Columbia. We're known as the salmon people. So we went fishing and took salmon. As a matter of fact, a lot of our lives were surrounded by salmon, taking the salmon, sharing it, drying it. We even have a candied salmon, which I know it's hard to believe that we do. So I would say salmon would be the one for our people.
Fantastic. It's been so nice. You mentioned this idea of local ingredients and things that are fresh and lovely. This is something that I never did when I was a kid. I ate a lot of processed food, and that was great. Don't get me wrong. Cheetos were amazing. But as I got older, the more I get the chance to eat things that are in season, it's just so much fresher. It's nicer. It's lovelier. I'm in Niagara region now, so peaches are slowly but surely winding down now. But a fresh peach or a fresh caught game is it's the greatest food you'll ever have in your life. I hope all our kids get a chance to go home today, play with AI networks, and work to cook with your parents. It's really an impactful and exciting experience. So everyone, we're all back in together. I just want to say such a huge personal thank you. This has been one of my, honestly, I've hosted 1,000 broadcasts. This might be in my top 5 of all time. You guys did such an amazing job. Honestly, I just had a fantastic time. Everyone on YouTube and our live classes did too. And so what I want to do to end the broadcast, again, if you guys want to check out STEAMLabs.ca, amazing programs there. They're supported by so many incredible organizations. And if you want to check out Cooking with the Wolfman to hear more about Chef David and all the amazing stuff he gets to do, I really encourage you to check those out. So what we do at the end of every broadcast, guys, we're at the 50-minute mark. I'm going to bring in all our classes. So Miss LeBlanc, Miss Kelly, Miss Raman, Miss Moonshot, and Miss Cump, if you want to join me in saying a big thank you and farewell, you are all in the broadcast. Come on in. Thank you so much.